Welcome to the Other Financial Institution Supervision Department 2018 Retreat. The theme, From Financial Inclusion to Wealth Creation, the role of OFIS. Financial inclusion has been defined as the state of financial system where every member of society has access to appropriate financial products and services for effective and efficient management of their resources, get needed resources to finance their businesses, and financial leverage to take up opportunities that will lead to increase in their income. One thing we can collectively agree upon that is consistent is that the aim of financial inclusion is to get the actively poor people out of poverty and to help set them and the economy at large on a path to sustainable wealth creation. One department in the Central Bank of Nigeria set with this task at its core is the Other Financial Institutions Supervision Department, OFISD, headed by Mrs. Tokunbo Martins.
My name is Tokunbo Martins, and I'm the Director of Other Financial Institutions Supervision Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Well, my role is to ensure the safety and soundness of other financial institutions. Other financial institutions comprise of microfinance banks, and until recently, we had over 1,000 of them. But 2 weeks ago, we revoked the licenses of some of them that were not doing well. So right now, we have about 880 left. That's for microfinance banks. We also have in the OFI category mortgage banks. And mortgage banks, we have 35 of them. We also have finance companies. We have finance companies, about 80 of them. And then we have bureau de change, about over 4,000 of those. So put together, we have about 5,000 institutions that we supervise. So our role is to make sure that they operate safely and soundly, and that they also contribute to the objectives of economic growth by ensuring that people at the bottom of the pyramid, low-income earners, entrepreneurs, SMEs, are able to get access to credit. We also oversee the development banks. In that category, we have the Bank of Industry, we have the Development Bank of Nigeria, we have the Federal Mortgage Bank, we have the Nigeria Refinance and Mortgage Company, and we have the Infrastructure Bank. Now, all these banks were set up, they were either enacted by law or licensed by the CBN, and the objective is that they should provide developmental finance to improve the lot of the economy.
We are privileged to supervise financial institutions that are focusing on the people at the lower end of the market to provide financial service, because financial service, among other services, among other needs of the poor, financial service is being seen, has been articulated and scientifically proved that access to finance can accelerate people, economically active people, to move from vulnerability, to move out of poverty, to economic sustainability.
Before I became the Director of OFISD, that's what we call this department for short, I was the Director of Banking Supervision. I was in that role for 6 years. My role there was similar to the role we have here.
Being the primary supervising enforcer for financial institutions, several reforms have taken place to involve the community bank and bring them under supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria as part of the other financial services.
What we had were community banks before, and they were not under the supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria. In 2005, they were brought under the supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria with the objective that a new mandate should be carved out for them, which was they were supposed to serve the economically active poor. And that was made very, very clear. and new capital requirements were set for them, and the fact that CBN would now be looking into their activities unlike before. So it was no longer free for all. Minimum capital requirements were increased to 20 million. So that was in 2005. From 2005 to 2011, we now had guidelines for those that wanted to operate at the state level and those that wanted national authorization. So if you're a national microfinance bank, you can operate everywhere. The expectations of those ones was that they were supposed to go to the nooks and crannies of this nation. If you have a national license, and mainly in the rural areas, if you have a national license, there's nothing stopping you from going everywhere in this country. For the states, they were supposed to operate within a state and reach everywhere in those states.
OFISD feedback.
The institutions render returns. So the mortgage banks render returns on mortgages. And we have seen tremendous growth in mortgages. Between 2016 and 2017, mortgages grew by almost 40%. It's never grown by that percentage before. So at least that gives us an idea that, because these mortgages are going to people. So if there's a leap of 40% within 1 year, that's a huge growth. Also for the microfinance banks, we see growth in their assets, that is their loans. So we believe that these loans are going to people.
I'm a caterer into snacks business, a small scale business, microfinance support. That's where we get our loan from. And so they will give you and tell you to be paying with interest. It's not easy. It's not easy, but what can we do?
I've been hearing of LAPO. Although I didn't collect much, we normally pay on weekends, Fridays. So if you collect like 30, you start paying every week, you pay 2,000. And if you collect 50, every week you pay 2,500.
They submit off-site returns. Off-site returns that contains the statement of financial position of the institution and the income statement. So we avail this institution to relate with us electronically, because by the share number, it is not possible for you to have this institution being visited one by one. So automation is a major foothold for us. Automation is our instrument, is what we look onto on a daily basis to achieve our supervisory objective.
It's one thing that we are doing that I think, yes, that gives us some kind of feedback on the people that are getting the credit and the impact it's having on them, is the data we're now recently getting from the credit bureaus. So we're getting quite a lot of data from them, and I've said that it should be analyzed. We want to know exactly what sectors this money is going to, the genders, the age brackets, and other kinds of indicators that will give us some idea of the impact that we're having. To measure impact, because the one I mentioned is just for the development banks, to measure the impact of the other OFIs, microfinance and mortgages, we're just about to start that. We're doing that in conjunction. We're getting some aid to do that from a development partner. It's called social performance indicators, and that is actually going to measure how much have the microfinance banks or mortgage institutions, but specifically the microfinance banks, how much have you been able to impact the well-being of those at the bottom of the pyramid?
Please, so I need money, I need help. Who to assist me? That will assist me in my business. I need money.
I just raise my money by myself. I want to grow my business to a bigger level. I think that finance, that's my challenge.
Plant hire, I'm into hiring equipment.
Sir, how do you get money? How do you get finance capital to run your business?
My brother, it's not easy. Although when I'm working, I have to do contribution before I can get my own equipment. But I cannot buy the new equipment. I have to go and buy the used one, because I don't have money to buy the new one.
Yes, sir. Please, have you collected loan from any microfinance bank?
At all.
You haven't collected?
Yes. When you apply, they will ask you to bring collaterals and this.
The challenge of reaching everyone at the bottom of the pyramid is no small feat. However, the OFISD has started well, with room for massive improvements in the area of reaching more people. We must, however, understand that it takes time to build these structures through the financial institutions in order to reach the people effectively. Customer testimonies.
My name is Taiwo Joda. I'm the Managing Director, Chief Executive of Axion Microfinance Bank. Typically, we have several customers that we have dealt with. One of them runs a school, and we started by giving her money to buy books for our students. From buying books for students, we gave her money, increased the loan amount to renovate the school, and recently we also gave her money to buy a school bus. And that is the success story.
I met microfinance through one of my colleagues. I went to them because I need some money to establish my school. They firstly gave me some money to buy books for my students. The second, they gave me money to do some renovation. And they continue coming and coming to ask questions, alerting all the time. There is no amount they give to me that they will never come to check for it, whether the money went to the right channel.
And so we have customers that have spent 12 years with us from inception. We have customers that have spent 10 years with us. Our retention rate is very high. We had a customer who, Mrs. Otufelo, who started with us with 50,000 and grew to taking a loan of 6.5 million. She's built her own house. She's sent children to school, both locally and internationally. And she's a satisfied customer of Axion Microfinance Bank. This is what gives us joy, that we're able to translate people from poverty to prosperity.
My name is Kehinde Tolulope Olufelo Dickness. Before I became Axion customers, there was nothing in my shop. In fact, I was using a counter, not even a shop. I was on the counter, like half counter, like one side of a shop like this. That was what I was using. Axion Microfinance Bank has made a great impact on my business because, as I explained before, that I started low as a retailer. Now I'm an wholesaler. Now that people can come to my shops and buy goods. I've traveled to so many countries to buy goods, to so many West African countries. I've been to Senegal, I've been to Ivory Coast, Cotonou, I've been to Ghana. So it's Axion's money.
I'm Ni Akindusi, the President of Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria, and also the Chief Executive, Trust Bond Mortgage Bank PLC. One of the customers who have been able to become homeowners through our efforts resides in Abuja and is a civil servant. And that is talking about those who are in the lower income bracket. While another customer, which will also become an homeowner, is there in Lagos, self-employed, and not only self-employed, it's also a joint loan. So which means we are looking at family income. We are trying to ensure that even regardless of the sector you find yourself, even if your income is not enough, you can combine the income of your spouse together. That is the other customer we have also been able to make homeowners.
I'm Mrs. Victoria Mobolaji Ololade. Oh, it was so easy, no stress. I went to the bank, I filled the form, they asked questions, I answered, and based on merits, I was granted the mortgage loan. It is very, very good. It is good because I'm not a business person. The money you will have incurred on the property, you can put the money into your business. And it will also help you to grow your business. A big kudos to Central Bank.
My name is Abimbola Osuchukwu. I run Valicom Business Services. I have a mortgage with Trust Bond Mortgage Bank. The history of my relationship with Trust Bond Mortgage Bank dates way back to 2013. I have bought 2 houses using Trust Bond Mortgage. The first one, my husband and I bought in 2013, and we paid up. And that made it easy for us to approach them for a second one, which is bought a second one using Trust Bond also. We had lived in a rented apartment for 10 years, and I just thought that this house would never be ours. We had had bad experiences buying virgin lands with Omoniles, and we've lost money. And we got to a point whereby we wanted to buy houses that were ready-made with proper title. So one of the attractions to me was there any opportunity to do that? So we started talking to mortgage houses. It was not only Trust Bond we spoke to, but it was only Trust Bond we were able to see that based on their requirement it was doable, and then we decided to sign up for it. The experience was very professional. It was easy for us to access. We had a checklist, we had to open an account, they did evaluation, they came, so it was okay. They told us what we had to provide, which fortunately for us then we had the contribution that we needed to put in place and then approach. In fact, when we approached Trust Bond, we didn't have a property as at then, but we wanted to move. So we had the checklist of what was required, and then we found a property, and then we were able to get the mortgage.
Well, let me talk about what my personal vision is. And I would say that this is where my role differs from my role when I was in banking supervision. Because this is a department that by the time you see the kind of customers that these institutions cater for, you would really have a passion for them. And you see huge potential. These institutions play in a space that other institutions, they would say the way this parlance goes, that they tread in areas where even angels would fear to tread. So they would deal with the pepper sellers, the meat sellers, the vulcanizers, the mechanics. The amazing thing is that when you follow some of these artisans and low-income people, you follow them and help them with their businesses and you coach them. These people are so dedicated and so responsible. They learn the art of saving and taking credits. They take the credits, they grow their businesses, and they pay back the credits. So they're multiplying funds for the banks, and they're also increasing their own and bettering their own livelihoods. And what is more, they're able to employ more people. I've heard of stories of people that started with a small stall, and they've grown their employees from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So my vision has been, because not all microfinance banks understand this philosophy. We have a number that came from commercial banks, and they believe that microfinance banking is just sitting in a chair and operating the way they used to work in commercial banks, and it's totally different. Number one, you have to have a passion for these people and for a passion for what you're doing, and know that it's not just to make profit. There has to be a social impact, and we as supervisors, we're trying to instill this kind of philosophy into all the microfinance banks that we are supervising. So what we've done is that we have chosen the microfinance banks that are doing very well, that please talk to the others, because if we have many doing well, if you're all doing well, it is better for the subsector, it's better for the economy at large.
Challenges to OFISD.
With the key performance indicator, we are able to appraise this framework that we have, or this institutional framework, that they are delivering on their mandate. And study also, including receiving from the industry, what challenges that they have, particularly with the regulation, where it may be constraining, that we could further assist without compromising the safety and soundness and stability of this institution. So we address that in order to make them to move forward to be able to deliver on their objectives.
I must say that the biggest elephant in the room is the issue of double-digit interest rates. It affects both the customers because it reduces a lot of the number of people that can afford. Because interest becomes a major component of the cost of taking a mortgage beyond the price of the house, what you are going to pay. And that limits a lot of people who can have access. Beyond being the shelter, it is job creation. It also affects the banks too, because for the mortgage banks too, it means the volume of loans you can do is reduced because very few people can afford it. So it works against both the customer who wants to own a home and of course the efficiency and the volume the mortgage banks can drive. The other one is the issue of foreclosure. For as long as we have a situation where people are unwilling to pay for their mortgages and they know you cannot realize the houses, it becomes an incentive not to pay mortgages. That's the major one.
Well, we are working on some initiatives to that effect, but I really can't share that right now. But I believe that very soon, even without the initiatives that we're working on, so that the mortgage market can have a single-digit interest rate, even in the macroeconomy, interest rates, if you look at the interest rates on federal government bonds, it's coming down. And every other interest rate takes a cue from that. So that shows that that interest rates generally, including mortgage rates, will come down on its own. But we're not just waiting for that. We also have some initiatives that we're working on. In addition, we have the Federal Mortgage Bank, and they give single-digit interest rates to qualified borrowers. They lend out at, it's below 10%.
A major challenge with customers obtaining loan from microfinance bank, generally from banking, is security. Okay, and most times they come to tell you, we don't have security for the loan you're asking for. Even though we have relaxed security to cover guarantors, increasingly now we've seen an apathy on the part of people to want to guarantee loans. And that has been a major hindrance.
Personal thought/fulfillments. For any prospective customer or entrepreneur with doubts about the realities of the work being carried out by the CBN through the OFISD to make the aim of financial inclusion a reality in Nigeria. Here is a message from the director, Mrs. Tokumbo Martins.
I would tell them that you can become much bigger than you are right now. I'll ask them, do you save? Do you have a saving culture? Where do you bank? Have you ever been able to access credit? And I would encourage them that if you want to access credit, for you new startups at the bottom of the pyramid, go to a microfinance bank. We supervise them. They are insured by NDIC. So in the event that anything happens, you can be sure that your deposits up to the tune of 200,000 are guaranteed. Most of them don't even have up to 200,000 in banks anyway. So they are secure. So in summary, what am I saying? I would encourage them, savings, take credits, grow your business, pay it back, get another credit, grow it even more, and let the circle continue.
The team. The success of any establishment, whether private or public, has been attributed to the quality of its team, the internal culture, and the abilities of its leaders. This collective association embodies and enables the process of a team.
I have a great team, very, very professional, very experienced, and very, very academically competent. I have a team made up of all sorts of backgrounds. We have chartered accountants, we have economists, we have risk managers, we have finance specialists, we have fraud examiners, we have, I think we have some IT specialists. So we have a very good mix of academic qualifications. We also have a very good mix of experience. We have some people that came from IT department, we have some people that came from the industry, My background even before going to banking supervision was in auditing and information systems auditing, and then banking supervision, and then this. We have people that came from operations, so in terms of background experiences, we have a good mix of that too. I believe they're well motivated. I try my best to motivate them and encourage them that do this work for 3 reasons. Do it for yourself, because really whatever we do, whatever we sow, we will reap it. Do it for the economy, and do it for the Central Bank of Nigeria that employed you.
Closing remarks.
The theme of our retreat is from financial inclusion to wealth creation. For so many years, all of us, including me myself, we've been financial supervisors. But I think we need to go beyond that, and we need to leave our very, very, very tangible footsteps in the sands of history. I know that we have mentored microfinance banks, we have mentored mortgage banks, finance companies and development finance institutions how to impact the lives of others. And then we will know that we have truly and really fulfilled the role to which we were called when we became not just staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, but examiners in the other financial institution supervision department. And on that note, dear examiners, I say enjoy the rest of the retreat.